way to do it. Box blade. Rolling. First one I do is hit the nose. Alright guys, here we are. As promised, we're in the shop. Got us a new pressure washer. You can see right there. Electric. I kind of like these electric ones. Some guys don't, but I guess it's all in preference. No gasoline, don't have to worry about oil, none of that fun stuff. Yeah, you might take a little bit of sacrifice for pressure, but let's look at this thing. Yeah, we got this. Start off here. This is something I like here. Extendable handle, kind of like a suitcase there. You know, it's up, down, up, down, up, down. Got a big soap container on the back here. That's a neat feature. Works. And as you can see, it's pretty compact, you know. The whole top of it's about the size of my hand. About a hand and a half there. 1900 psi. Or 19 gallons, 1900, yeah, psi, 1.2 gallons a minute. I mean, it ain't nothing fancy or nothing, but, you know, for what we use them for, knock mud off a race car. You know, we're going to try to clean the floor here, but the other one I think had more psi to it. Not 100% sure, but dogs tried using the cord for it as a, you know, dental floss or whatever. What's nice is, well, it does make a little bit of noise. It ain't nowhere near as noisy as the old gas-powered one, so. Yeah, does a decent job. Nothing fancy. One way to do it, box blade, rolling. First one I do is hit the nose. Oh well. To the shop it goes. Well, I knew it was going to be a tight squeeze, but we got it in here. Need to vacuum all the pine needles off of it. Not a big deal. Get a vacuum in here, get all the pine needles cleaned out and off of it, and get it jacked up. And probably gonna have to take that power steering pump off in the reservoir to run the LS stuff. Most importantly, we need to get in here and work on that steering column right there. So there's a few things in this side of the shop that we can move around, like toolbox and old hose reel. And this old engine, this is actually Strokers and Mullet Kids and Kylan's engine. I've been storing it for several years, but push come to shove, if I absolutely needed it. I'm sure they wouldn't say nothing if I freshened it up and dropped it in an old Intimidator up there, but you know, there's a bunch of little knick-knack things. Biggest goal was not necessarily to get it in the shop to start working on the car right away. I mean, yes, we want to work on it right away, but the biggest goal was to get it in here before it started freezing, and I wanted to get the floor pretty clean. Unfortunately, we picked up mud from where I washed out front. So as you guys can see right here, it's pretty muddy. Can't really tell the depth of it, but I probably dug down close to a foot up against this pipe. The pipe was completely covered in mud. You know, when the water come up off the hill, it would roll pretty well from about where Rocky's sitting and roll down this way, about where CJ's at, and come down and hit right in here. But in all reality, I wouldn't be opposed to taking this whole room area, whole room area out, expanding my shop out a little bit, but that could be later on down the road, and who knows, we might, you know, become multi-billionaires or something one day and build a big shop where I can fit all my projects in there and race car and, you know, maybe live in it. But I guess I need to go find my jacks and jack stands and get old Intimidator up here off the ground for the first time. Get the tires off. And maybe take them out, spray them with the garden hose real quick, get the heavy mud off, and I guess we can probably go ahead and start cleaning things up, like my redneck heat shields. And maybe do a little right up there, make that look a little cleaner. Maybe pull some wire back. We need to, like I said, we need to do some vacuuming, and there's a whole list of things a guy could do to a race car that's been sitting for pretty much the whole time I've had it. I don't know. Got one side up. Got my old trusty jack stand I've had for thousands of years. And got my old Harbor Freight jack stand. You know, I trust that more than our government right now, but you know, we're getting it jacked up. CJ's over here working on jack duties. At least on this side. You know, this car comes in here, and like I said, this is like the door right here. But it pretty well takes up the whole floor space here. At one point I actually had a full modified front bumper to back bumper in here, and I had plenty of room to walk around it. I think I even had a go-kart in here with it. Granted, it didn't have a body. One thing for sure, I want to get this door off. This whole strip thing here messes with me, and I kind of like to try to straighten, you know, my old dents and dings out a little bit better. And I guess we can go ahead and take this little panel off, and you know, push come to shove, we'll trim, slice all the rust right off, and put a piece of plastic there. Dirt car, who cares? Okay, we got like pretty much 99.7% of all the pine needles off from, well, I guess you call them pine needles when they come off a cedar tree. We had all the way up here, had them back here, had them in the floorboard on both sides. You know, there's almost like a needle carpet all through here. Had some back here, you know, going for that shag look. Had a whole pile of them back here on the deck lid. And all I can say, that shop back there, that's like 100 years old, still sucks. I'm like, this here doesn't suck. Okay, I better pick it up. Yeah, it don't look that bad sitting in there. You know, it is kind of doing this little number, but I think that's because the way the nose is twisted up. You notice we got this flap over here going down, that flap over there saying, hey. Well, we've made us a list of everything that I could think of the top of my head. Well, we need to do an Intimidator. Now, with the way I think the smartest thing to do is start with the things that can get done without the engine in it. You know, I am hunting for everything I need to do the LS swap, but you know, with changing jobs, well, gotta save a little bit of money up, get things back financially stable again, and then we can start buying things, hopefully, for Intimidator to get the LS in there. Well, we got the door off, and you can see part of the belt. I thought we'd find all sorts of good hidden treasures back here. Got an old piece of, you know, the push button for a starter. Here's some more pieces of it. Pop ribbit. And a nut. And of course we got plenty of mud and dirt, but really nothing of value. I was hoping to maybe find a missing socket or two in here, but it ain't there. Alright, it's been raining all night. Let's see. Holy cow, the floor is still dry. Ain't seen that in a while. Used to, it didn't take much rain and we had a flood going. So, good so far. Only problem is I left my broom outside. Okay, so first thing on my list you see there is the steering shaft. If you've seen the video of when we actually took the Intimidator out to race for the one and only time that I actually got to drive it, you'll remember how much of a nightmare the steering was. I would have been done, probably had an easier time catching a greased pig than keeping that steering column straight. So that's the first thing I'm going to do on my list. One of the reasons we took the door off is we got an access hole right there. Kind of gives me the option to reach in here, do what I need to do, you know, hopefully make it a little easier on us. For the most part, I should have enough bits and pieces laying around to, you know, maybe fix it up a little bit better, revamp it a little bit. I got something in mind. I seen how Jason Brewington had the steering shaft done in his Pinto. I kind of like that idea, so I'm going to try to, you know, do it homemade wise, I guess. And hopefully eliminate having all the slop in the steering. The way his is set up, you know, there's very little movement, and you know that's what we want. So I think I'm gonna get started, you know, working on the steering and see what we come up with. All right, well, we kind of got started doing a little bit on the steering here. What I did is took a piece of this, I don't know, I guess you consider it square stock, or you know, it's more rectangle, but cut it down, made a little piece here. And what the plan is, in here. So what the plan is to kind of get this square, stick it up in there somewhere, get it lined up. We're going to take the steering wheel and put a straight shaft on it. But if we get it up here where we want it, and I'm happy with the steering wheel, we're going to tack it in place. And pretty much that's the start of the steering improvement program that I kind of got going. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to keep the Heim system or change it over and use a piece of tubing with some washers and put a grease zerd in it so you can grease it and keep it lubed up. But kind of running out of time this weekend, so I'm going to probably pick up my tools and kind of start put away what I got out, and that way, you know, I don't add to my collection of junk up here. But I guess we'll see you guys out on the road, because, well, we got to go back to work, make a little money so we can pay our bills and, you know, eventually put a little money into this thing and other projects that we're going to have coming up. But I guess we'll see you out on the road. Stay safe. God bless.